husband has, he's the one that has really been like leading the bandwagon for this with us, because he's experienced so much relief from using CBD cream on his pain, like on his back in particular. He'd been having a lot of pain. He's had 2 back spinal surgeries, and he's actually going to have a third because, while, he has another disc in his neck that has got, spurs and things on it that's causing impingement on nerves, which is causing numbness and things down his arm, but it was also causing a lot of pain. So he had gotten a steroid shot, one of those shots, and that helped, but there was still residual pain left over. And what we found was when putting this cream on, that it took the pain away. It took the rest of that pain away. So anyway, long story short, this has just caused us to be really, really curious about CBD, and we've just become like even more like invested in CBD. And my husband, he's now invested in a CBD business, right, with a particular company, and is very excited about sharing it. And so far, the people that we've shared it with have been like I said, my mom she will not be without her CBD. She actually ran out, and she has had so much dizziness and nausea and vertigo and headaches that and her CBD came today, and she's using the hempworks CBDs, and she will never be without again. She's like, this has been like a really miserable couple of days, and she's just really excited to get back on it. One of our friends that started using it again, he had an elbow surgery when he was in college, football injury, still had pain and discomfort just lingering on from that. You know how those kinds of injuries can be. He got his shipment of CBD, he got the pain relief cream, and he calls us up and he's like, oh my gosh, I put it on, and almost immediately, like within 30 minutes, my arm, it felt like it hasn't felt since before he had that surgery. Yay! And then another one of our friends, and CBD is not a FDA regulated substance, it's an FDA approved substance. So like foods are FDA approved, right? Regulated substances are typically going to be medications, right? So it's not a medication, so it's not regulated at this point, although we do hope that it becomes regulated, because we think that it does have a lot of health benefits, and it should be taken responsibly, right? And it should be taken from responsible sources, right? And that's what I want to talk about as far as reading labels. And so I'm kind of rambling, but I think this is all like stuff I've been wanting to tell you guys, but I just I need to get on and do it. But he is using it for a particular, I was going to say he's been using it for his gout, and it's not going to, it's not a cure, but he has experienced a lot of relief in the swelling and inflammation that he's been experiencing. And CBD is known to be anti-inflammatory. So that's really cool. Oh, and my husband has also been able to go off one of his medications that he'd been using for arthritis discomfort, right? And so again, not a cure, not saying that, but I'm just telling you what we've experienced, that we've had really great results with this, and that's why we're excited about it. So how do you read a label? Because the things that you didn't know. So what I've learned, and I've been studying, I've been listening, really, we found this company, Hempworks, because we were watching a Dr. Oz video or something, and he mentioned it as one of the reputable brands, one of the brands that he recommends, right? He gave the list, these are companies that, he's very confident and comfortable that they're doing business the right way and producing a quality product. So we're like, oh, well, let's look that up. Okay. So what I've learned is that the less ingredients, the better. And isn't that the way it is with everything? I've been talking so much about, my Shakeology and the things like that. You're like, well, I drink a protein shake. I'm like, well, what's in your protein shake, And so it's really important what you're putting into your body and to know what that is and to read labels. So your CBD oil, right, if you're using a tincture, it should only have, it should have a carrier oil. So it's going to have a carrier oil because the CBD has to go into something to be carried into your body, right? And that's typically, you're going to see variations. Like we use a hemp seed oil, which hemp seed oil, CBD comes from the hemp plant. Let's keep all of these things together, right? It seems like a no-brainer, like, well, duh. Some companies use MCT oil, which is a kind of coconut oil. Some use vegetable oil, olive oil. So the thing I would say to you about whatever you're using is different kinds of oils. Like MCT, one of the side effects of that could be nausea, dizziness, bloating, cramping. So if you're using your CBD and you notice that you started experiencing these things, make sure you know what the oil is, because maybe it's the oil, the carrier oil, that's causing the problem, right? Instead of the CBD, right? So check that out. So it's going to have your oil. It should have CBD, which could be listed as hemp extract. And if it's hemp extract, that actually means it's going to be a full spectrum product, which full spectrum means it's going to have all of the cannabinoids that are found in the hemp plant, not just the CBD. So there's over 100 cannabinoids found in a hemp plant, and one of them is THC, which is the psychoactive element that you find in marijuana. Well, marijuana is a different plant. Hemp and marijuana are like the male and female version of the species of cannabis, right? So they're not the same. Marijuana is bred to have a higher percentage of THC. The hemp plant is bred to have a very high percentage of CBD. So that's again stuff I've learned. I'm sure there's people on here that know a lot more about this than me, but for all the people that may not really know anything, like I didn't know anything, I'm just sharing what I've learned. So, your CBD should have the carrier oil, it should have your hemp extract, or if it's an isolate, then it should say that it has a CBD, like, 99.9% CBD. And then it might have some natural flavoring in it. So we love the peppermint flavor. It has a natural peppermint flavor, right? Now, here's what I've learned. So, okay, got it. Also, like this, our CBD is extracted using a CO2 process, a CO2 extraction, which basically is air, right? Some CBDs might say they use like a nanotechnology or something else like that. Be cautious, because if your extraction method is using chemicals or substances, things like that, then those things could end up in your CBD, right? So, again, you want to keep things that are going into your body for health reasons to be as pure as possible, right? So anyway, so the company that we first bought our CBD from, that's, again, not saying anything bad about companies, but I happen to have some on hand left over that is called a water soluble. And so, again, that's kind of a buzzword, and I know, anyway, it's a buzzword, but I was looking at the ingredients and I noticed that it had other things in it. I'm like, well, what are these other things? And it says it has hemp seed oil. It doesn't say anything about hemp extract, which they're not the same things. The one thing I did notice and I looked up the other things, and I don't know, saponin extract, ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid is vitamin C. I don't know why you would put that in your CBD. Saponin extract. I'm still not really sure what that is, but anyway. And then it has artificial and natural flavorings. Artificial and natural. It's a grape flavor, artificial and natural. I don't really need artificial flavorings. I try to stay away from them, so that's questionable. And I know this particular company, so I'm like, well, but that's water soluble. I want to compare their product to just our tincture. So I looked on the website and I noticed they have a cloud tincture, which I know we have used before. I think my mom has used it. And I'm like, cloud tincture, so what is that? So I look at the ingredients and there's all these ingredients on it. I'm like, what are these things? And what I learned from looking up those ingredients is that those extra ingredients are used in the product to make it vapable. So, not gonna vape, not ever gonna vape. Don't need that stuff in. And actually, one of the products is a synthetic liquid substance that's a petroleum byproduct. A petroleum byproduct in my CBD, which I'm using to make me healthier, to make me feel better, and putting a petroleum byproduct in my body. So that's a red flag to me. And then I did look at that, and I did find that they also have a CBD tincture that's just a tincture, and I'm happy to say that it had the CBD or the hemp extract and a natural flavor in it. So I was very happy to see that. So good job. The other thing that I find really interesting, though, is the color. Like, I just got these, but like, look, a nice clear green. Hemp and hemp oil is green, right? So that's what you're seeing. Nothing else. This particular product, and I told my husband, I said, this is the one that has the artificial flavoring in it, and it still tastes like he won't even use it. He's like, ew. It's this milky color. Milky. This like opaque, milky yellow. So anywho, that's what I learned about that. So I think that's really what I wanted to share. Now look, I'm looking all studious here. That's what I wanted to share. And I don't know if anybody has questions, but I would be happy to, hear your experience with CBD, any questions you have. What I'm basically doing now is when people have questions and I don't know the answer, I'm looking it up, right? And I'm learning. Like, I just learned, like, for this particular video, I did some research and I was looking at, different things online, and my husband came in and he's like, what are you going to talk about? So I gave him a little rundown of what I was going to talk about. And I said, did you learn anything? He's like, yeah, I did. So if you haven't learned anything yet today, I hope that this was your opportunity to learn something new. So thanks for tuning in. Have a happy Friday.